Hello, and thank you all for joining us again here today on Hudson's County for another TTRPG Talk Short. This time we're going to be taking a look at another Zemo or ZineQuest campaign called Tourist Hole. This is a campaign, a game that I think would be really great for anybody who's ever gone on long road trips and stopped by all of the little weird places that you manage to come across along the way. This definitely has aspects to it that remind me of like sort of touristy horror vibes, or even like your cosmic horror elements to it, or cryptid elements to it. This game has managed to hit their goal, their initial goals you see over there, and I don't believe they have any stretch goals necessarily to hit in order to try to simplify the campaign, but I definitely think this is worth checking out. As you can see there's 10 days to go. That is because I'm currently filming this in the evening of February 20th. So the campaign will be finishing up on March 3rd, and that would be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I forgot to mention this earlier, but Tourist Hole was created by Mark Mertens, who of course is also running the campaign. There are some pretty interesting and relatively simple bar dice mechanics that in turn prompt the actual story itself. And again, your basic idea is that you're going on a road trip and you're visiting roadside attractions as you go. And yeah, so you start off by creating your character or declaring your character. If you're continuing a session with a character that already exists, you're going into a new location. You kind of go in, you're describing it. These are weird things that will help kind of stick out for tourists, and then you start rolling. Again, this is using based on the dice game Ship Captain Crew. Where basically you are trying to hit certain dice values. And if you manage to hit those dice values, then you manage to break free, as they call it, which means basically that you manage to not necessarily get sucked into this tourist hole and never be able to escape. The sense that you'll see there, the two dice in the middle, are basically the dice that you use to describe the cost that you're paying to leave, and you're trying to beat that cost that's hidden there. So if you don't hit the cost, then you do manage to escape, but there's like there's some form of trauma that your character carries on with you after that. As a part of the mechanics of the game, if you don't manage to leave, your tourist essentially is basically suggested to write a final postcard home. So basically kind of describing, and I kind of see this as being like a surreal sort of like sending this out so then we can suck in more people into the tourist hole. So I think that's like a really interesting element of the dice. So here is an actual illustration. So as you're exploring, you hit discoveries in order to answer a prompt, and then you roll your dice, and you're holding certain dice as you go, and you have to escape by the time you manage to hit your the fourth discovery. So you'll see here you have to get a 6 and a 5 and a 4, and then 2 dice of any value that you hold to try to beat the cost. And one other interesting aspect is that you'll see there's a bar mode, which is again the kind that actually is built around that particular dice, that old style dice gambling game. But then also there's a car mode that actually removes a lot of those dice rolls, so that you could potentially play it essentially anywhere. So yeah, that was Tourist Hole. Again, this is a sort of again tourism horror or like road trip horror, road trip cosmic horror / thriller, I guess, game created by Mark Martins. Again, the campaign has funded, so you don't need to worry about that, but you only got a little more than a week from the time that I'm recording. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to get to post this, but as of the time I'm recording this video, so definitely something that looks really interesting. If nothing else for that dice mechanic, I think it'd be really a really interesting thing to check out, and it'd be also really interesting to see that dice mechanic applied to some other similar situations, like other mysteries or Cthulhu or maybe even like more adventure or like spy style games. That would also be potentially an interesting way to see that system played out. So again, check this out. Don't forget to share campaigns whenever you can to support the creators who are participating in Zemo or ZineQuest. Don't forget to rate your itch purchases and have a good zone.